Stream, Bitcoin is seeing a short-term breakout right now as we speak. There's been a resistance level on the Bitcoin chart that it has been constantly hitting since Sunday, which is around $88,900. And every single time we've hit this level, we have had a rejection. But right now, in the last 15 minutes, just as I've been preparing the stream, Bitcoin is in fact pushing above this level of resistance. And that leads me to believe that Bitcoin is about to make a move to the highs of this range, potentially next month. Now, if we're being conservatively, if we're acting conservatively, maybe we just rally up to 91K. But most likely, I believe, a move up to the highs of the range is in fact back on, since we managed to survive on the support region that I've been outlining on many of the recent live streams. I told you guys that if we hold the line and we don't fall off this cliff, the likelihood is we will start seeing green prices and we'll start seeing a move back up to the highs of the range. And it seems like that move might be on. We have a major FOMC event coming tomorrow. I'm going to discuss that in today's live stream. I'll be bringing it to you live tomorrow. It's actually going to be a little bit earlier than this live stream. So make sure to tune in tomorrow around the same time, about 30 minutes to an hour earlier. I'll be live bringing you the FOMC press conference. But yeah, I believe we are going to see a move to the highs of the range most likely, and a rejection. And then that, to me, will be the move that then leads us down to that dreaded 200-week moving average for many people. But for me, since I am in stables, I am not too concerned. I'm just going to buy it up if we go there, be buying Bitcoin heavily, and I'll be buying the altcoins heavily. But in the very short term here, I believe we are seeing a move to the upside. As I said, on the 15-minute, we've got a nice breakout here. Let's see if it continues and we keep pushing up. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I saw the charts this morning, and I just thought we were going to break this resistance. You know, I really did. And I said that to the VIP members in the voice chat. We had this bit of a fake move to the downside to try and trap people, and then we've just come straight back up. And quite often, that is what happens, guys. I'm being very clear here. If you're going to be trading the daily opens, the New York Stock Exchange opens, be very, very careful, because quite often, even if the day is going to end green, they will bring prices down on Bitcoin right as the session opens. Not almost every time, but many, many times I see this. Even on a green day, they will still dump us at market open to the downside to try and catch everyone off guard because the setup looked good, dump us, liquidate all the longs, and then they'll send us up. And that seems to be what's happened today. But we're going to get into it all. I'm going to talk about some altcoin opportunities because some of the altcoins I've been mentioning to you guys have been printing, one of which is Hyperliquid. I mentioned that on the last live stream. That is the second biggest gainer in the entire market. And the other altcoin I mentioned was Pump.Fun. That is the third biggest gainer in the entire market. So we've been killing it on this channel on the live streams with some of the recent calls with the altcoins. I told you guys about Hyperliquid and Pump.Fun before they went on to do this nice rally. The VIPs are also in 2 trades, which right now are both seeing some price appreciation, which I'm very happy to see. But I believe these trades are only just starting, and we're going to see much more upside, especially as it looks like Bitcoin is making that move potentially to the upside. Now, we have the FOMC event coming tomorrow. That is a major event, as we know. 99% chance of no change to the Fed funds rate. But as always, that is not always the important thing, okay? It's the rhetoric from Powell, it's the speech from Powell, which really matters, because that is going to be the first FOMC of the year, and it's going to give us a sense of what's to come when it comes to the Federal Reserve policy in the upcoming meetings. Right now, the market is pricing in no rate cuts for the whole of the first half of the year, and the market's pretty pessimistic about the prospects of rate cuts. So if Powell comes out and he just hints at potential rate cuts in the first half of the year, and he doesn't rule out cuts, that could be seen as bullish by market participants, okay? Because right now, everyone's super pessimistic about the prospects of rate cuts. Everyone's ruling them out. If Powell comes out and potentially talks these rumors up, he doesn't normally do that, but you've got to read between the lines. If Powell comes out and hints at potential rate cuts in the upcoming meetings, I think that's going to be bullish for the market, and we'll probably rally to the upside. Also, you want to hear about QE and stuff like that. If he hints at more QE, that could also be seen as bullish by the market. So I'll be bringing that to you live tomorrow. Make sure to go nowhere. I will be streaming it. So make sure you have notifications turned on and you are subscribed. Hit the likes on the stream. We've been predicting the market very accurately recently. We predicted the move below the 50-week moving average and that would cause a bigger move to the downside. I told you guys that we would not get back above the 50-week moving average anytime soon after breaking below it, despite many people telling me that we would just go straight back above it the week after. That has not been the case. We have now had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 consecutive weeks pretty much below the 50-week moving average now, despite many people saying that this would just be a one-off week and we would just get straight back above it. So we've been very accurate with our macro predictions on this market, and I believe that is going to continue to be the case into 2026. Hopefully, I'm right again on this. I said that we would most likely hold this support, despite many people calling for a big move down. Now I'm calling for a move up to around 100K, there or thereabouts. That is not only the highs of this range, but it also lines up with the 50-week moving average as a potential complacency shoulder rally. The 50-week moving average right now is set at 101K, and by the time we get there, it will probably be even closer to 100K, thus lining up even more with this target that I'm giving you guys. It's also a major psychological level. So for me, I see that as a level we're probably going to hit. People are going to get very bullish. The bulls are going to get very, very excited. And then I believe they are going to get wrecked. That is my opinion. I could be wrong on that. But I believe the bulls are going to get wrecked. They're going to be jumping into a complacency shoulder, just like what happened in 2022, where people were getting very excited. And I remember it, guys, because I was around back then. People were getting very, very excited about this move here up to 48K, which was slightly above the 50-week. We rejected at the 200 daily moving average to the T, and then we absolutely collapsed to the downside. And people were getting very, very bullish. They were saying the bear market is officially over. And yeah, it just seems very, very similar to me to what is going on right now. And if you actually go back, let's just go back here and look, and you take a little look at the price action. Let me just find exactly where I'm referring to here. There you go. You have a really nice kind of, I mean, this is just off the cuff, right? This is not pre-planned, but I'm just drawing it out here. You have a really nice bear flag. You have your flagpole collapse down. That's your flagpole, and then there is your actual flag. So very, very similar to what's going on right now with Bitcoin. And therefore, my base case has to be that this is going to lead to a drawdown at some point. But as I said, in multiple of the recent live streams, this sideways price action can continue much longer than many people think. It really, really can. We can go sideways in this range for a whole other month, and it would still line up to the sideways price action we had in 2022, before then dropping lower down to the 50-week moving average, 200-week moving average on Bitcoin, which seems to always be the macro level of support on BTC. Many people doubt that we'll get there, but eventually it hits, and those who are in stables can deploy very heavily there and reap the rewards in the following months, as typically you get a very nice bounce. You can see we hit the 50-week, we hit the 200-week here. We did have a bit of time below it, but once we got back above it, it was insane what followed. And 2022 was actually the outlier where the 200-week moving average didn't work as well. If you actually go further back, you can see just how well the 200-week moving average has worked in the past. you can see the support of the 2018 bear market was right at the 200-week moving average. That was the exact bottoming price. We hit it once, we hit it twice, and then even during the COVID crash, yes, we wicked below it, but the 200-week moving average was the weekly close, and that was the level where we found support and started getting a bounce. So the 200-week is a great range to go shopping for Bitcoin. For me, anything significantly above that is essentially just Bitcoin being a little bit more expensive and therefore not too worthwhile for me to be buying. But yeah, short term looking good. We're going to get into the comments here. Appreciate each and every one of you being here live on the stream. Hit up the likes. It helps out a ton with the channel, helps the channel grow, helps motivate me to do more daily live streams as well, and put more time into the content. So please do hit up the likes. I'm going to go through your questions in just a moment. But yeah, we've got a donation from Ricky, and he says, can Dash go to $100 again? I have $3,000 in Dash. I'll take a look for you, my friend. But yeah, 27 likes, 115 watching. Let's get those likes up. Let's try and match the amount of people watching with the likes. But the question is about Dash, and can it hit $100 again? Let's see if Bitcoin can get a support test here. Flip previous resistance into support and then get a bounce. That would be nice. But yeah, let's take a look at Dash. I've also got a little bit to talk about regarding gold and silver and how they relate to Bitcoin, because I'm seeing some very interesting things over on that front. So Dash, we've got on the screen here, and the question is, can it hit $100? Well, $100 isn't really too far away, to be honest with you. If we take some local fibs here, you can see that it found nice support actually in that golden pocket region. Now, if you hit the golden pocket and you get a nice bounce and the overall market starts to move up, there is no reason why you cannot break the previous high. So yeah, my base case would be that if Bitcoin is about to make that move up to 100K, as I think, something like Dash could certainly break past the previous resistance here at 96 and maybe even push above $100. So if you get above 96, you've got this level here, potentially this swing high. And then after that, you're going for the all-time highs of November 2025, right? Or not all-time highs, but cycle highs, right? There is a risk, especially, and I see this beforehand sometimes, when you see an altcoin make a move like this, it always makes me question whether this is the setup for an M pattern. And I've seen M patterns play out so many times this bull run. You have one high, one run like that. You then have the next run down. You then have the next run up. And then you basically reject that and give all the gains back to the support. And that is your M pattern. McDonald's pattern, right? I see it play out so many times on altcoins. I honestly can't mention how many times I've seen this play out. So you've just got to be aware of that. If it does start stalling out at these highs, there is a potential chance that it is going to go and complete an M pattern there. And sometimes it's good to see that beforehand so that you can have it in your mind when it's going into resistance, that could be the play. But in the very short term here, we're seeing Bitcoin surpass these points of resistance. Let's see if we can start moving up to the next major level for me, which is around $91,000 in the short term. Let's see if we can get that move up to 91K. For some reason, my chat box isn't working on my streaming software, so I'm going to have to use the YouTube chat this way. Let's pop up the chat. Pop out chat. I think that's what we do. There we go. So get your questions in the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. XPL is moving, got in at 12 cents. What are your price targets for a swing trade on this? So XPL, I think, just did a really nice double bottom. Yeah, there you go. Really nice double bottom, or even triple bottom if you count this one as well. And then it's just had this breakout of a very similar structure to which it had previously. So XPL, structurally speaking, is looking fine. I was a bit disappointed in how it gave back all those returns again. If XPL at any point dips below the previous support here, I think it's going to really dump hard. So it needs to hold the line here. It needs to hold 11 cents. Otherwise, it risks breaking the structure and the major support here that we've just built. The lows that we hit multiple times would be invalidated at that point, and then we would enter basically price discovery, but to the downside. So as long as XPL holds that level, that major support line that I've got drawn out, then there's no reason why it can't start appreciating in price and pushing to the upside. XPL is an incredible layer one of the best layer ones out there. If you go onto DeFi Llama and you look at all the layer one chains, you can look at different metrics for the different chains. And Plasma XPL, backed by Peter Thiel, by the way, is one of the best layer ones out there in terms of stablecoin market cap and in terms of TVL. It is a layer one built for stablecoins, stablecoin infrastructure. That is a narrative for me which is here to stay. One of the most talked about elements, if not the most talked about elements of crypto this cycle, was indeed stablecoins. So I don't see that going anywhere. In fact, I think it's going to only get bigger. And if you go onto a DeFi Llama and you select DeFi TVL, sort it from the highest, obviously you've got ETH in number one. For those of you who don't know what TVL is, it's basically the total sum of all the coins and all the smart contract stuff going on the chain. So if you think about every single crypto built on Ethereum, there's loads, right? You got loads of cryptos built on Ethereum. You got loads of money staked on Ethereum. That is essentially what your DeFi TVL is. It's all the coins, all the smart contract type of stuff, all the protocols on the chain, the total sum of that value. So it's a very good metric to look into when you're looking at the strength of a chain, like in terms of the actual usage. And if you look at that, you have Ethereum first, Solana second, BNB, totally fair, right? That makes sense. Those are the chains that have the most smart contracts and applications built on them. Then Bitcoin, you got some on Bitcoin, but it's more of a currency or a store of value rather than an actual smart contract protocol. Then you have Base, makes sense. Tron, makes sense. So you got loads of stablecoin value locked up on Tron with USDT. And then guess what it is? It's Plasma. Top 7 in terms of all the chains. But what is the ranking of Plasma in terms of all the projects? Guys, it's not even in the top 100. Plasma is ranked 139th out of all the projects, yet as a chain, it is ranked 7th. Make that make sense. So to me, it's incredibly undervalued. I believe this thing is going to go a lot higher in the short term. But obviously, like I've said many times, if Bitcoin is going to make that bigger move down, that macro move down, which I actually expect at some point, then something like Plasma will just keep going lower. You've got to be very clear about that. So it's more of a short-term play than a long-term play right now. If Bitcoin comes and retests the 200-week moving average, or even retests 74K, then I would look to start building a long-term position up in Plasma. But until that happens, the macro risks of Bitcoin making a larger move down are just too big to be entering long-term spot positions, in my opinion. So for those of you wondering, this is essentially my buy range, not only for Bitcoin, but also for altcoins. That's between $74,900 and $58,000. That is essentially my buy zone. If Bitcoin goes in that zone, I'll be most likely buying up Bitcoin and buying up the altcoins. But I will basically triangle in. So for those of you who don't know what that means, that basically means that the lower we go, the more I buy. So let's just do it in simple terms. Let's say you got $100 let's draw it on here. Let's say you got $100, you go $20 here, you know, $50 here, or $20 there, $30 there, and then 50 all here, right? So you're basically laddering in. The lower you go, the more you buy. It's kind of pyramiding in or triangling in, depends how you want to phrase it. But basically, the lower you go, the heavier your buys get, the more bulky your buys get, until you get to the 200 week, and that's where you really want to start going crazy with the buys. So let's see if Bitcoin's retesting that support. It is indeed doing that. So quite often, guys, when you're looking to enter a swing trade long, it's best to get in on the retest rather than jumping out on the breakout. Quite often, things do come back down and retest that level. And then if it is a legitimate breakout, you'll see a move to the upside after a nice retest. So we're getting a retest. Let's see if we can hold that level and start pushing higher on Bitcoin. Like I said, 91K would be a short-term target. More medium target would be 100K, which I see next month. But 91K, I think we could see in the next few days, potentially even by the end of this month. Yeah, some really good altcoin trade opportunities out there. Plasma being one of them. But also the 2 trade alerts I just gave to the VIPs. If you're not in the VIP group already, I strongly recommend it. Huge gains are being made. Even during times where the market's not doing amazing, people are still making money on meme coins. People are still making money shorting the market. I put out a short alert for gold. That one printed when I got in and out very quick. The members printed on that. So even other assets, not just crypto, we will be trading. Cryptex, my technical analyst, put a trade alert out along on silver just before it started absolutely going crazy into a blow off top. And the members made bank on that silver trade. People made crazy money on that. And those are just a couple to mention, right? I gave the IP alert as well. No YouTuber was talking about IP. No one was talking about it. No one even knows about it. If you go and ask a random YouTuber to talk about IP, none of them will even know what it is. Okay? I knew all about it. I knew the price to get in. I gave that trade alert out, and on spot, it literally pumped like 60% in like a week. Something crazy like that. 60% in like a week. And this is in a freaking bear market right now. So those are the kind of gains we're making. If you use the code TARIF at checkout, I think it's expiring this week. It might still be valid. You'll have to check. But use the code TARIF at checkout, and you might save a huge amount off the membership. That applies to the big bundle as well, which is a lifetime mentorship package, which is a much higher tier, thing. It's not for everyone, but start with a VIP and get the ball rolling. And I'd be very, very surprised if you're disappointed, because pretty much every review is 5 stars. So Bitcoin looks like it's coming for that upside liquidity. As I've been mentioning in some of the previous live streams, we've already come down. We've taken out the downside liquidity, and it's no surprise to me that we're starting to move up. You've got major blocks of liquidity at 93,500, at 96,200. There is a huge amount of liquidity. Also 97,300 and 98,400. So lots of liquidity building up to the upside. I believe that will be taken out in the coming weeks. It's only a matter of time. So I wanted to also mention Bitcoin related to silver. So this is your Bitcoin and silver pair. All you need to do is go to TradingView, type in BTC divided by silver, and you'll essentially get this trading pair. So rather than pricing Bitcoin in dollars, you're pricing it compared to silver. And what you can see is it is absolutely capitulating right now. It's lost all the fib levels. And you got to ask yourself, at some point, it's going to have a reversal. It can't just keep going down forever. These are multiple weekly candles heading down. I think there's a solid chance that this could be the point of support for the Bitcoin silver pair. We'll have to wait, obviously, but it's crazy to see how much the Bitcoin silver ratio is getting decimated right now in the direction of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's getting decimated to its silver pair. But to me, this is showing signs that it's certainly getting close to a bottom. This can't just keep dumping forever. So it really puts into perspective how crazy of a run it's been for gold and silver. I do believe gold and silver are getting close to a top of some sort. They keep putting in new all-time highs every single week. And I honestly think it's only a matter of time now before we see a top put in for gold and silver. It could literally be any week now. You've got a government shutdown coming, which is like obviously gonna boost the prospects for gold and silver because of the whole uncertainty trade. They seem to always run whenever we get uncertainty. But I think eventually they are going to hit resistance and they're going to start falling down. They're not going to go up forever, despite many of the gold and silver fanboys telling you that. The same thing always happens with gold and silver, guys. You get a massive blow off top, and then you don't see those prices again for multiple decades. That is what plays out on gold every single time. The last time gold had a blow off top was 2011. It took us until now to see another blow off top, right? Last year to see another blow off top. So you don't see these things too often. These are once in a 20-year period or 30-year period. You can see the blow off top we had in 1980. We didn't see those prices again until 2008. 2008. 38 years you had to wait. Okay, some of the grandpas who are buying gold at the top up here, they were dead by the time it went back to those prices in 2008. 28 years later, a lot can happen in 20 years. I wasn't even born 28 years ago. So I would just be very cautious about anyone considering buying into this top on gold or this blow off top on gold, because yes, it could keep going up a little bit higher. Yeah, maybe we hit 5,500 or 6,000. But the reality is this is lining up to be a once in 20-year top. And we're probably not going to see these prices again for a long time once it corrects. So be aware of that. Know your history, know your charts, and you'll be fine. But Bitcoin right now is pushing higher. We had that nice retest of the resistance as support, and now we're pushing higher. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with Bitcoin here in the short term. I'm a big fan of this price action. We'll see if it continues. Let's see what you guys are saying. Bitcoin is dropping again. I don't see it. Bitcoin's pushing higher. Just broke resistance. When you say short term on XPL, do you mean a few weeks or a few months? When I say short term, I mean like the next month, next few weeks, next month, that kind of thing. I don't know, man. I think it can go lower, like 35K. I think for Bitcoin to lose the 200-week moving average, you would need some sort of global financial crisis or a World War III kind of doomsday style scenario. It's not going to go below that. Maybe it will on a wick, but you're not going to see sustained price action below the 200-week, in my opinion, unless there is some major conflict. Maybe the US is directly involved, or there's another kind of COVID or another black swan event would be required, in my opinion, to bring us below the 200-week. Now, that's not impossible. There seems to be a black swan event every few years in this day and age. So it's always possible you have a major black swan event and we drop lower. Could be anything. Could be another disease. Could be a war. Could be a banking crisis. Could be a stable coin going under. Could be a major exchange collapsing. Could be MicroStrategy having issues. Could be anything. All right. I mean, the president was almost assassinated, or the president to be was almost assassinated. Imagine if that went another way, how that could have affected the world and affected markets and what could have gone down. So you're always a lot closer to a black swan event than you think. So I'm not ruling it out that we could go as low as 30K or 40K, but I just think from a base case perspective, it's unlikely. All right. Maybe what could happen is Bitcoin was getting close to a bottom and then a black swan event hits and then that pushes us below that support. But as long as that doesn't happen, I do believe the 200 week or even maybe slightly higher will be the bottoming price of Bitcoin. But for me, the 200 week is a great one to go off. If Bitcoin hits that, I'm going to be buying it very, very heavily. So FOMC tomorrow, then we have unemployment claims on Thursday, PPI on Friday. It's a very important week. I'm going to be bringing you the FOMC speech live tomorrow. So make sure you've hit the subscribe button on the channel. Make sure you've hit the notification button on the channel so you don't miss it. Bro, I longed 10x on your 2 trade calls. Good call. Amazing. Glad you're making some profits. So I gave 2 trade alerts in the VIP, both of those printed. And I also gave 2 trades to you guys for free on the last live stream. One was Hyperliquid and one was Pump.Fun. They are 2 of the 3 biggest gainers in the entire market right now. One was Pump.Fun, one was Hyperliquid. They're 2 of the 3 best performing cryptos in the entire market. So the rate at which we perform is insane compared to the rest of the market. What I'm good at is swing trades. That's my style. That's my area of expertise, is finding an undervalued altcoin, getting into it, holding it for a few weeks, and then getting rid of it. What I'm not so good at is the super short-term scalping. I've just learned that I'm not too good at it. You might be the same. You might be different. You might be great at scalping and not too good at swing trading. But once you find your niche, once you find the thing you're good at, stick to it, and you'll make crazy profits. Yes, we did go below the 200-week moving average in the last bear market. There were things that were kind of crazy. You're forgetting about FTX. One of the biggest exchanges in the world went under. And you're also forgetting about the fact that the US economy was in a recession during Joseph Biden's tenure. So you're forgetting about 2 things that were both very bad that led to us having a more brutal bear market. There was a recession in 2022. That's why all the tech stocks absolutely crumbled. That's why Bitcoin went down to 15K from a high of 69K. So there was a recession and FTX went under. So you had multiple things all going, that way. You had very slowed economic growth under Joe Biden, but they changed the definition. They changed the name. They tried to basically pull the wool over your eyes. Is ETH going to rally up again? I don't think ETH will make a new all-time high unless Bitcoin does, but I do think it could push up to potentially 4K. No 100K within days, Bitcoin hits 75K? I disagree with that. I don't think Bitcoin hits 75K just yet. I think it will, but much later on in the year, I believe. All the liquidity is building up to the upside, and to me, there's many signals that we're going to be pushing higher in the coming days. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the market. Definitely join up the VIP so you don't miss the next trades, because we're already printing on some of the trades I've given out. So you don't want to be missing those trades. Even if crypto is kind of dead, we'll be trading other things. I'll be sending out my stock market trades. I'll be sending out heavy metal trades or precious metal trades, not heavy metal. anything you can trade, we're going to be sending out alerts, but mostly crypto. Okay. And the last 2 trades I gave were crypto related, and I think they're gonna push up a lot higher. So yeah, definitely join. I think the code tariff should work. You get my buy alerts. You get access to the Discord group, which is active 24/7. It's a full community with voice chats pretty much every single day. I was in the voice chat earlier for about 3 hours with some scalp traders, and we were looking over the charts. So yeah, I'll be live tomorrow, guys, for the FOMC event. Streaming that live on the channel. Some members are printing on some trades. Trump said the US dollar is doing great. That's just in. So you also get the news updates all into the VIP chat. You get buy alerts, sell alerts, stock market alerts. I give announcements out constantly. The voice message announcements like this. Whenever something's happening in the market, you'll get loads of voice messages in real time. So it's a no-brainer. Just join for a month, see how it goes, and I'll see you in there. Guys, I appreciate all of you tuning in today. I'll see you in the next live stream, which will be tomorrow for the FOMC event. Looking forward to that. Hopefully we get a nice move to the upside and we can fulfill this kind of expectation that I have here, which is Bitcoin pushing up to the range highs in the coming weeks. Thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you